Hi guys, welcome to the latest edition of the Black Spin Global podcast. I'm Eugene.
And I'm Lucy.
And yeah, guys, welcome to our season finale / what is this? We're calling it a season ending pod for the 2022 season. And we are joined by friend of the pod, our guy, bro, Tumaini Carayol from the mentor indeed. Tumaini Carayol from the Guardian. How you doing, Tumaini?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me again.
No, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate it. And again, fairly short notice. I think I reached out to you like last week. And you're a busy guy, so for you to say yes, like it's always we always appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you. I had to after last time. I was in no show last time.
No, it's cool. But yeah, man, we've got a lot to get through because it's been a long season. I mean, it's literally just finished. And we're in what, like late November?
Yep.
That's something I want to talk about later on, actually, like just in terms of like the tennis season in general. I think it's far too long. And I'd like to get I'd like us to share our thoughts on that. But yeah, like I just want to kind of get into it. So from a Black Spin Global perspective, like it's been a pretty special year for us. Like, and obviously we've done various pods like throughout the season, like at different times where we've like highlighted like moments or special moments for us. But yeah, for me personally, like us getting accreditation for like the grass court season, courtesy of the ELTA, shouts out, like that was huge. And like that was really like a very symbolic like moment like for the platform. I don't know if you want to like add to that, Lucy. Like you did your thing.
It was I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like expect it, only because of like, you and I both know the things that we've been going through to get even just that little, chance. But besides that, it was definitely a highlight of not even just the pod, but just in general, like of the year. It was a great experience. I think the reason why it was such a highlight is what it made me respect people like Tumaini a lot more. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you guys get a lot of shit from fans, from even players at times, but it's really not an easy job to do. And I can't believe some people do this all year round in different time zones, different countries, different, environment, and not even in the comfort of their home. And I did it for a couple of days and I was like, yep, I am exhausted. I am tired. And keep in mind that it's not that we actually write articles as much. Like we mainly write just on social. So the fact that these people are actually writing articles had to be,
on site,
and had to be 10 out of 10 because, like you're writing for The Guardian or other places. So shout out to the tennis journalists, some. Yeah, like honestly, like it was an eye opener, but it actually made me love the sport even more as well, because I can now experience the sport as a fan and also as like a media person. So yeah.
What I loved as well, like because there was a week where I was at Queen's and you were in Birmingham.
Well, that was a plan, but then we had all the black players pulled out.
Yeah.
So you were in Queen's and then I was in Eastbourne, the weekend for like the qualifiers, and then I went for like a couple. Yeah. So the plan was to go to Birmingham. Yeah.
And yeah, it was just like pretty much everything you said in terms of like just kind of seeing it from like that side of like, because obviously we watch tennis like on TV, we just see, the players on the court, and like, we might see like clips from interviews and stuff, but to actually be there, like when they're coming off the court to go to their like post match press and stuff like that, like it was really, really interesting and just, great insight. And we saw the great man at work, like doing his thing. And we were learning like from him as well, like learning from the best, giving us tips as well, which is much appreciated.
Learning how to run across the ground after screening, finish a match to get into a press conference.
these are the these are the things you have to do, isn't it? So
and these are the things that we wouldn't have known if it wasn't for Tumaini, to be honest. I'd have probably just been strolling and like, yeah, just so sweet. And then the next thing you know, someone would just be like, oh yeah, you just missed her. It's like, oh.
No, 100%. But on Eastbourne, man, what an experience. Like, and it was made extra special courtesy of Jarmere Jenkins. Like, again, massive shout out to him.
Yeah.
And like us being allowed to kind of, like sit in Serena's players box, like on her return, to action or back to the tour.
Yeah.
She was playing doubles with Vuns Jabeur. Again, that was very, very special. Like, it
was special, but I still beat myself up for sitting right next to her husband and not saying a word. I actually hate myself for it because I actually could have plugged us. I could have been like, "Oh hi, sorry, I'm Lucy here. I'm Black Spin Global." Yeah,
no, it's cool. It's cool.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so funny because just a couple of days ago I was thinking about it. Well, more like when the whole Drake thing happened, I was thinking about it. I was like, I was sitting right next to this person and I could have actually said something, but the reason why it was funny is because he kept turning around looking at us like, who are these niggas? Who are these niggas? Like, who are these people?
But you better not have said that, but
like he turned around at least like 3 times, like and it's so funny because I was facing like this trying to avoid eye contact with him, but I think he clocked that I was trying to avoid because it's just like I don't know what to say to you. Like I'm even too scared to say hi, but shout out to Alexis, innit?
No, I think you redeemed yourself in the post-match press. Like you piped up and asked Serena a question, like which I was very, very impressed with. You got the footage on the socials, which is
it's so funny because I didn't know that Eugene had no idea that I was going to ask a question. Like he thought that I was passing the mic to you. I was like, no, there's absolutely no way I'm leaving this place without talking to my queen. That's not happening. It's not happening.
And it was a really, really good question too. And I think she definitely appreciated it. And Uns Jabeur too, because you brought Uns in and like it was a nice kind of, they both gave an answer, which was nice.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And even the fans are because even the fans were like asking like, oh, raw, like what happened? Like, why did she pick her? So I was curious myself because if you look at all of the women, I'm not saying Ons was a good pick. She was a great pick. She was literally in the final for Wimbledon right after. But it was just like, why her specifically? Basically, like, what is it about her? But she did well. Like, I feel like they were great together. And yeah.
No, it was fantastic. And then I've said the last moment in terms of from a BSG perspective, us linking up at Wimbledon for day one, like that was amazing. Like, even though we were just there, me and you, Lucy, we were there just for the one day, again, courtesy of you for hooking that up. So shouts out to you, Miss the Bannock Queen. Like you just know how to get that. You know how to get that Bannock done.
One thing about me, I'm gonna be in that Wimbledon one way or another. But Wimbledon that year, this year was special because to me, I don't know if it's because it was the first time that I went on the first day, but besides that, it was just nice seeing so many Black people. Like I saw so like whether it was fans or staff, and it was just all of us doing that, like.
They had no idea.
that little nods. But I don't know, Tumaini, like, would you agree? Like, because obviously you've been like probably more and longer than us as well. Like, would you agree that this year there was a little bit more of diversity, should we say, at Wimbledon?
Yeah. I mean, there are more Black people and more younger Black people as well.
Yeah,
I still find Wimbledon jarring, though, just like the contrast between like the majority of the people there, and then you have like the stewards who are mostly Black, or the I don't know, the staff who are mostly Black, and then but for sure, it's there are more Black people, and it just more it is more diverse and just more different people showing up. So
I've also got as well because this year for you, Tumaini, was this the first year? Like, how did you find like covering all the slams? Because you were on site for all of them, weren't you? Like, was this the first season that was the case for you, or?
No, so I did it in 2016. While ago. That was when I was during my Erasmus year. I was just had basically a free year, so I was just like, fuck it, I'm gonna go to all, I'm gonna go to cover all the slams and use my Erasmus money, to get my plane tickets. But yeah, this year, it was just different because obviously with COVID, hadn't been anywhere for a long time. Hadn't even been to, hadn't been to even the US Open last year when Raducanu won. So it was just, I don't know, it's so different just being there, being able to interact with people. And I don't know, it's only been like a year and a bit, but so much has happened. There's so many new players and faces, and it's just weird because like say like in 2019, I felt like most of the players kind of knew who I was, and kind of not almost like trusted, or just they're comfortable to speak with me. But coming back this year, like there's so many people who I've never really spoken to. So like that's kind of what, like this year has been just like trying to show my face and get them to know me and things like that. But no, it's been cool. It's been a crazy year. Just very. It felt like we just got thrown back into like just a huge year with so much happening, and I mean, it started when I was in Australia. It started with me landing, and the day after Djokovic sent that Instagram post, and all hell broke loose. So since then, it's just been like non-stop for a long time.
What's been your favorite slam of the year?
I think the US Open, but it was also like the hardest one. I mean, because of Serena, and it just felt like so much happened.
Yeah.
So that was my favorite, but it was also like it was just like really intense. Well, Australia was intense too, but like it was just very intense.
But like in terms of work, it was just like a lot to like handle since there was so much going on, basically.
Yeah, because like especially with the time difference in the US, they're true. 5 hours behind, and we have deadline, like we have to have an article in the paper by like midnight here. So like I'd like write a whole piece. Well, I'd write like multiple pieces during the day for like the day session, and then at 7 p.m., which is midnight in UK, like normally like unless something big happens, you wouldn't really be expected to do so much, but at 7 p.m. it was like a whole new day because that's when Serena was playing every night, So
we did see you in the stands as well. Laptop on the lap. We did see you in the stands.
Yeah, I was there a lot. Yeah, it was like intense. But
and for you, Lucy, what was your favorite slam this year?
Ooh. I think I'll go with the US Open, to be honest. I honestly feel like even minus the whole like like that being Serena's last slam, I feel, I don't know what it is, but we just get very entertaining matches during the US Open, especially the last couple of years. I feel like it's been really carrying it. And there was so many great stuff like Tiafoe going all the way to semi-finals. And it was just so many great things, happening. And the matches are always entertaining, the crowd entertaining. 100% US Open for me. What about you?
Yeah, for me, it's between US and French, just because of Coco. But I probably will go US.
Yes.
I probably will go US. Like you said, the whole Serena thing was very special.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tiafoe as well, making the last four, and just the vibe in New York. Like, it's just different. Yeah. Like, and it's probably is my favorite slam. Sorry, Wimbledon. But we've discussed that before.
We have. Hold on, but Tumaini, since you've been to all four, what about a crowd? Because there's been a lot of a debate about who's like the loudest or craziest crowd. So obviously
it's got to be the French.
We have the top two, which is always the French and US Open. So for someone who's, especially this year, has been to all four, has been to many of them before as well, today, which one you say is like the craziest crowd out of all of the four slams?
I think like when they want to like boo you or come for you, it's the French. They will go after you. They'll try and cut you down. But the US Open, in terms of like when they're excited, I'd say it's the US Open. So it's like how French can be.
Listen.
I mean, let me not say anything more. But just like, you know, they will kick you when you're down. That's what I mean. Like,
oh yeah. Shout out.
They will boot. They go on, sorry.
Shout out to the French people then, but you know, we know you guys, boy. The French people no one knows how to drag more than the French people, honestly. Like they can drag you to filth.
I like it. I like it when the French crowd like go off on someone and when the people give it back, you know, when the player, you know, is like cussing out the crowd or whatever. I love that.
Yeah, that's definitely them.
More of that.
You don't love beef, but in trouble.
Of course, chaos.
Yeah.
Chaos.
Damn. In terms of like personal now, like for looking at like players particularly, and obviously not just like black spin specific, but yeah, what were some of like the highlights for you from 2022? Like when looking at like tennis in general, like the play, and not just from Grand Slams, but just overall. Because I'll start, like for me, obviously we had Coco reaching the French Open final, which we'll talk about in like greater detail later on, but that was huge. Obviously her first Grand Slam final. Mm-hmm. But I think the year started quite excitingly down under, like in Australia. Obviously, many you would know. But yeah, we had Madison Keys winning, I think it was her sixth title in Adelaide. Mm-hmm. And she beat Coco en route to that as well, which is interesting. And yeah, Gael Monfils as well. He won in Adelaide too. And obviously that was his 11th title. And this year he also became a father for the first time with Elina Cittolina, his wife. Shouts out to the both of them and their lovely family. And yeah, Keys, she went on to reach the semi-finals in Australia. She lost to Ash Barty. So a really good start to the year. And like she finished the year pretty strongly too, Keys. I think she finished 11th, I think her ranking, end of year ranking was. And she was in contention to reach the end of year finals. I think she just missed out. Like the last tournament, like she was still in contention basically to qualify, but she did miss out. But yeah, for me, those were like the main one or great moments. We'll talk about like career highs for certain players later on as well, but they were some of the highlights for me. So yeah, for you guys, if you can share yours.
Mine was definitely Tiafoe reaching the semi-finals US Open and beating Nadal. That match was just incredible. The emotions, the excitement, it was great. I really, really liked that. Coco this year, I feel like I can't even pick just one. I feel like this entire year, because she's just done so great. I feel like once she got that extra coach, she just, did something else. She, two Grand Slam finals, two doubles, French Open and US Open.
US was last year.
No, this year. No, do you know who I'm... Sorry, you're right. Last year. But she reached semi-finals and she lost to Taylor. Townsend, exactly. Shout out to Taylor. Yes, sorry. But obviously reaching number one as well. Her own trainers and shit. Like, honestly, this year was just fantastic for Coco. So I'm really happy for her. So she was definitely a little highlight. You know what? This is not black spin, but I do feel like Alcaraz 100% deserves some accolades for this year as well. I'm really excited. Like, I'm just happy to see the younger players just killing it, get these grandpas out. So yeah, really happy about that. Obviously, Felix as well, killing it the last couple months as well. I know people trying to downplay it because it's the last couple of months, but it still counts and he still did something. Other people are sleeping and not doing nothing, and he's winning. And because of Canada, they got that little Davis Cup. So yeah,
little.
No, I mean they got that little. Okay, you know how I feel about Davis Cup, but not Canada being little.
okay.
So you know how I feel about Davis Cup, but yeah, sorry, I was supposed to replace. But anyways, he helped Canada get that Davis Cup.
He won the Davis Cup for Canada, basically. But
basically,
we'll talk about that later.
Basically, there's no Felix, there's no Davis Cup for you Canadians.
Facts.
Just that's sorted. But yeah, those are definitely. I know I've got a lot long list, but I'll say for now, those are 100%
Solid.
the things that, definitely got me happy.
Yeah, mine are quite similar actually. Like Frances at the US Open, Coco this year, and particularly at the French Open when she had she had a chance. You know, she clearly had a good chance, and she just went through it like it was nothing. And obviously, like on the court, playing well, and then off the court, like she's just like I don't know just not just for an 18-year-old or 19, not just for an 18-year-old, but just as a person, she's just so solid and. Just looking forward to seeing that continue. Aside from the black players, it's kind of the same as well. Seeing Alcaraz like break through this year. First of all in like the spring and from the start of the year, and then this Open where he was just the drama, like the whole way through, like just all these crazy matches. Like he could have made life so much easier for himself. And dragged into these long things.
It's like he deliberately was doing it though as well.
Yeah. It was mad. Like I was there until like 3 a.m. for the 3:30 or whatever for the cinema.
Crazy.
It's like why am I watching? Well, and then also Swiatek, I guess, in the women, like that was just impressive.
That's true. Yeah, that's true actually.
Like after Barty retired, like I expected it to be like fucking mayhem, to just no one being able to to follow that up.
That's true.
Like 37 matches in a row, like straight after it, like that's mad. And also Jabeur, I guess, our North African sister.
Facts. Shouts out. No, indeed.
Made two slam finals, reached number 2. Just like again, like in a different way, but like Coco, just like a really like solid person, like just a very nice human being who like everyone was happy for. So those are mine, I think.
No, I love all of those, and like every single player you've mentioned there is like completely. Like they all stood out. Like one more I'd add is again not backspin focused, but Holger-Rune or Holger-Rune. Like I don't know how you say it in the Scandinavian way, but I've been really impressed with him, man. Like, and I know he's got a lot of crap in the media or tennis Twitter anyway, just because of some of the things he said in the past and like. But in terms of his play,
that's funny.
I said some self-inflicted, but
Oh, really? But anyway, that's enough Holger-Rune talk. Player retirements. We had a few player retirements this year.
Yeah. And I feel like we're going to get more next year.
But I don't think they're going to get much bigger than bloody Serena Williams. Although it's not a retirement, it's an involvement away from tennis, which I think we're going to see her again, basically.
100%.
Oh,
emphatic head nod.
He was like,
Go on, Zani. What are you saying?
No, just so she's like removed herself from the testing pool. Like,
oh, really? Okay. Look at this inside knowledge. Okay, yeah.
Like, if she'd just been like, I'm retiring, but I'm just gonna, I'm gonna stay on the rankings and blah blah blah, then she doesn't have it. Like, if I'm gonna stay around, then that's fair enough. But like I said, on like the international, the ITIA, the governing body for like I don't know, just for like they do with match fixing and anti-doping stuff.
Okay.
She's like officially listed as retired, so.
Yeah, because when I was like doing the show, rundown, I checked the WTA website, and her profile's grayed out. It says retired, so I was like, oh shit, okay, maybe not. But I don't know, man. Never say never. I'm saying, we'll see. But
40, she's 40.
I mean, did you not see her post as well? She posted something on her IG about practicing or something.
Yeah, but Serena loves to tease us. She loves playing with our feelings. She loves saying, like when she was talking about she's coming to Wimbledon, none of us believed her. We were like, she's not coming Wimbledon. And then we were actually shocked when she not only came Wimbledon, she came to Eastbourne as well. You never actually really know. Like, I feel like she purposely does that to make us think one thing and then another. But she's trying to be a mom in it. You just have to respect that.
Yeah.
So
sorry.
No, go on.
I was just going to say that was actually one of my favorite moments of the year was in Eastbourne when she said she was coming. So I went there early and found her in some random club in the middle of
yeah, I'm a bit practicing with Francis.
Yeah. And it's like random old people walking past and being like, that's Serena Williams. And like, this is mad, like.
In ghetto ass Eastbourne. One day we talk about how Eastbourne is kind of ghetto as well.
It's not ghetto. What are you talking? That's like a retirement like town.
Look at somebody. No, that place, Eugene. Do you know what it is? Because you were only there for like a day. I was sleeping over there. I am telling you, Eastbourne. I'm sorry, like. The LTA needs to move that tournament. Like, you can't be having players there in that. It's crazy. Like when I was walking around, I was like, what is going on here? It's scary. I was actually scared when I was walking outside by myself.
Damn.
Like it was actually like, child.
Fair play. Okay. But so yeah, we had Serena's retirement. And then Roger Federer as well, which was like crazy. I mean, he did announce that before Labour Cup. But again, you've written quite extensively about him, Tumaini, as well. Like you kind of saw this coming, I'm sure, from last year.
Yeah, I mean, I thought retirement was probably coming, but I don't know. I wasn't expecting it to come at Labour Cup. I thought he'd do it at Basel, maybe or Wimbledon. Yeah, I don't know. That kind of surprised me. Like I knew it was coming, but like, I wasn't expecting it there, but it ended up being like, obviously, like, given that he couldn't really move or anything, like, ended up being as perfect as possible as it could have been.
Yeah. Were you at the Labour Cup? Were you covering it?
Yeah.
Like, what was the vibe like? Like, in terms of
what was the vibe like?
There must have been a lot of it must have been a spectacle, obviously, it being his last event. Yeah. Like, even though it wasn't an official, like, rankings, like, point event. But, yeah.
I mean, it felt like it was all about him. And, you know, although, like, obviously they played for 2 more days. And in the end, you know, the result, you know, there was a result. Like, the main thing was what happened in the first day with Federer. And just felt, I don't know, just everything felt like it was about that moment. And, like, I thought, you know, it was obviously with Nadal like crying and all of that, all of his rivals being there, like it was very, in my opinion, it was very genuine, and everyone was just like, you know, as Federer was retiring and everyone else was kind of, especially like Nadal, Djokovic and Murray were all just probably like thinking about their own like careers and you know, so I don't know, it was, I wasn't expecting that, and it was kind of, it was not gonna lie, I was kind of emotional, like seeing. Just with it wasn't like Federer always cries, like you expect Federer to cry.
Yeah.
But like seeing like Nadal just like bawling his eyes out there, just like, shit.
Even Novak was crying.
Yeah.
Or he said he started crying when he saw like Federer's family or his wife and kids come out. He said.
Yeah. It was just it was emotional in a good way, and. Yeah, it was also like just interesting, like the differences between that and Serena's retirement, which was also emotional, but it was about her family. You know, it was emotional when she was like flying out Venus in the crowd and saying, you know, without Serena. So yeah, it was an emotional few months, and it's also mad that they were born like a month apart and then retired 3 weeks apart. So,
crazy. It's mad. No, it's incredible. And like, we're never going to get anything like that again. Like, because no disrespect to the women currently. I mean, well, Venus is still going, to be fair. So like, if she decides to retire with, I don't know, say, if she decides to retire next year and like Nadal follows, it kind of is, well, there are similarities, but it's not the same, basically.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, we're not going to get a Federer, Serena. Like,
I think after Nadal and Venus, that's when it's going to, like, the retirements probably might not hit for some people. It depends. I think it depends as well. Like,
Novak.
But he's not retiring anytime soon.
Yeah, not anytime soon, exactly. Yeah,
not anytime soon, anyways. I mean, even Nadal actually said recently that he's not looking to retire soon. I'm looking at him and his body, and I'm like, boy, you better go sit down. But we're going to see. He's saying
my guy's in like South America right now, playing exhibitions.
Living like, exhibition. That's what I'm saying. Like, don't try to go take care of your child. Like, this paternity leave, like, literally lasted for 2 days, and then he just literally went back out again. But it just shows to you how hungry he is. I think he got really, I don't think he was happy with his result this year, but I don't think he should put pressure on himself because he wasn't in the greatest condition. I feel like he forced himself to do a lot of the stuff. The Australian Open win, he shouldn't have won that. Let's be actually really honest, but he did. And then everything else after that was a struggle for him, which makes sense. Like his body's not the same. The others are coming at him.
He won the French. Like,
yeah, but no disrespect to whoever he was playing against. Rude.
Casper is a solid clay court player, but anyway, I hear you. Back to retirement. It leads nicely. Jo-Wilfried Tsonga, he retired at Roland Garros and he lost to Casper Ruud in the first round. It was a 4-set match. Were you there for that, Tumaini? Or
Yeah.
What was that like, seeing that? Because they had a really nice kind of send-off.
I like that send-off. Shout out to French Open for that. That was a good one.
Funny enough, when I was going up there, almost bumped into Felix, who was like watching it as well.
Nice.
That's cool.
It was that was a mad ceremony because it was so long.
Yeah, it was long.
They kept on bringing people out, and you know, and he had like the speech, but it was like, I think it was what it should be given what he's achieved, and you know
exactly.
Because I do, not to cut you, I do remember saying to Lucy, because we did pod around it. After the French Open, we spoke about it, and I did say that I didn't like how they didn't include, well, there weren't many women like included in like the video, like. No. I don't know what you call that, but yeah, there weren't many like women players, if at all. And I thought they could have maybe added some.
French people and women. Story.
No, don't.
Oh, no. Oh no, Eugene is a big thing. Like it's really a thing. Like there's a massive. I'm not saying that's what the French Open did, but I'm not shocking coming from France because there's a massive sexism issue there. Like they probably have the worst of the worst. Honestly speaking, like their sexism there is insane. So when I saw that, I didn't really realize it until you actually said it, because to me it's just literally so typical and, you know, from the French, to be honest.
That's incredible.
So yeah, that's their bag.
Interesting.
It's certainly the French Open's bag, given how, you know, I mean, that was a whole issue this year with the night sessions and everything.
Right.
It was Emily and Maresmo getting a lot of crap.
Yeah.
And I think that's why. Who's the director again? French Open. What's her name again?
Maresmo.
I feel like she's there for decoration. No offense. I feel like they just put her there so then they don't have to get a lot of smoke out of it. I'm not saying she's bad at her job, but I'm just saying there's probably other people behind her that are doing all the talking so that they don't get any more smoke about being called sexist.
Interesting.
That is my theory, not the own of Tumaini or Eugene or Black Spin Global. It is my theory.
Disclaimer, I like that.
Disclaimer, shout out to French Open in case y'all want to bring this, but I'm just saying.
Stop it. No, we'll be there soon. Career best years now. We've spoken about like Coco Gauff, but I do want to give her flowers because, yeah, it's been, and I want to talk about, or I say talk about, I don't want to focus on it, but I see a lot of crap on Twitter about like her game and like her towards the end of the season anyway. She played the end of year, she qualified for the end of the year finals, both singles and doubles, because she had a great year. I think she finished 7th, so top 10. Mm-hmm. She got as high as number 4 in the singles rankings. Like, and she didn't win a singles title this year as well, which I think, I mean, obviously, I don't think that's a big deal personally, but she won a lot of matches, hence why, you know, she qualified for the end of year finals. And then there was also like talk about like her record against Swiatek in terms of how she's never won a set. I think they played 5 matches and she's not won any of them. She hasn't got a set in any of those matches. I don't think that's a big deal.
Especially when you look at Iga's performance this year, she's literally been dragging everyone.
And again, they played each other 4 times this year, exactly. And again, Tumaini, he alluded to it earlier, like she's just been on a different kind of level in terms of just, taking that mantle as the top women's player like in the game at the moment. So for you guys, like, where do you see like Coco's game in terms of like her development? Like, I'm happy to see the way she's progressing, and I think there's only one way she's going, and that's up. Like, she's going to continue to go up those rankings. Like, there's nothing for me to kind of be worried about. But yeah, where do you guys like see her game? And like, do you also see the kind of talk, mainly in like social media? I don't want to say the press, but yeah, social media, like this idea that like she's not developing, or like, yeah, if anything, there's a lot of improvement still to be made, which obviously there is. But yeah, like where do you guys see her game basically? Yeah, Lucy, if you want to go first.
Do you know what? I kind of feel like the people that are chatting shit just don't know what's going on, and they're not been keeping track of how well she's been performing this year. I do see a lot of people talking about not necessarily her entire game, but as of recently, I've seen a lot of people talking about her forehand, saying that's the only thing that, they feel like if she fixes that, it will be great. But the way I see it, I'm not disagreeing with that. Like, obviously all players have their strengths and as well as their weaknesses. And I feel like that's the thing that people forget. It's okay to have a weakness, even though at times, you pay for it, which is why at times she might be losing the matches. But when you look at how she started this year and how she ended, or even just last year, she's improved a lot more. Whereas you have players who've been in the same level, same thing, and no improvement. She's been improving. And on top of that, she's only 18. I think at times we actually even also forget her age. Coco is literally only 18. There are players in their late 20s and they've made no improvements. So honestly, if she's made that improvement at this age so quickly in a year, I know that next season is going to be great. I just hope that she continues what she's doing and not listen to the people who are on social. She has actually even said that she's more on TikTok than Twitter because she's trying to run away from the toxic environments and stuff. I guess some of the fans is coming more for frustration because they want to see her win. And I get it. I want to see her win, but I am so happy and proud of her performance this year. And I just know that next year she's going to kill it. As long as she just continues what she's doing and don't let like the pressure get into her head, which I don't think it is, because I don't feel like I don't know, she has her moments, but again, all of this will be nothing as she grows older. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
For instance, I feel like before she used to show her emotions a lot on court and players could easily get into her head. Like the second where it's like, there's always that one time she will show it. But as of lately, she's been improving that. And that has happened over her because she's maturing as well as an adult. Like, do you get what I mean? So I think people forget about that as well. But yeah, the people that are talking either don't know what the hell's going on or they just forget the fact that she's 18. But like, that goes back to what you were saying earlier. The issue with having such a long season, you kind of forget what happened. So even when you were sending the rundown, when I was reading, I was like, oh yeah, this happened. That happened. I literally forgot Barty retired this year. I swear to you guys, I thought Barty retired last year because there's just so many things happening. So I think as well, sometimes my aim next year is not to drag people too much because I've come to the conclusion that a lot of times it's because people kind of forget what has happened, including myself. So yeah, I think next year she's going to have a great year and I'm really looking forward to her in next season.
No, well said. Yeah, Tumaini, what were you saying?
1 second, I just need to grab a charger, sorry.
Okay. No, well said, Lucy. I like that.
Thank you.
And yeah, good luck on this journey of like, yeah, not dragging people. It's a process, man. Like
it's gonna, you know what? I've grown a lot. There's so many times where I've literally quote tweet something. I'm like, I'm about to go crazy. I'm like, you know what, Lucy, it's not worth it. And I just close it.
Be the bigger
and then
person.
I custom in my head. But sometimes it's actually needed. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes I realize a lot of times they just tweet stuff because they want a reaction out of people like me.
That is what Twitter's about. Exactly.
So now I'm trying to fight that reaction. But sometimes some people need to get cussed, but I'm learning. I'm improving.
Anyway, we continue.
So yeah, I mean, I agree with both of what you said. Like she's 18 years old. She was number 1 in doubles, number 4 in singles. Like that's an unbelievable year. And French Open final. I think like the striking thing to me is just how even now, like after another season, the second ranked player of her age group is still. Like I think it's Linda Noskova who just broke in the top 100, or someone. I mean, there's a few of them now. but like it's just, you know, she's still just miles ahead of anyone her age, and what she's doing is just really impressive. I do think that, like, you know, at the same time, I think that, I mean, there is some, in my opinion at least, some, not the criticism, but like there's some validity to, like, for me, like where she eventually goes and her ceiling and what she's capable of. A lot of it, I think, boils down to how her forehand develops. And like you've seen this year how I just she even though she's only 18, she's been on the tour for like 3 years now, and people know her strengths and her weaknesses, and everyone's targeting that shot now, which is probably why people are even more like, you know, it's even an even clearer weakness. But so I think like how that shot improves is going to determine, you know, just what she's capable of in her career. But at the same time, she's like 18, and you know, most 18-year-olds have big, you know, have weaknesses, and this is exactly the age when, you know, you make those adjustments and improvements, and yeah, we'll see if she does. But like again, like she's doing extremely well, and she just has like a great, again, like she's just like a great head on her shoulders, and just seems to have like a very, just like a good environment around her, and she seems to just like know what she wants, and that's like kind of, that's part of, you know, this a big part of the success. And like especially with her run in the French Open final, like what I always remember is just how she was constantly talking about her development and just maturity, and how like she used to, in the past, she would take everything so seriously, and you know, everything, you know, a loss would be like almost kind of a death or something, you know, like it would just be like life or death. Whereas now she has a lot more perspective, and I don't know, it's just she's just an impressive person, and I don't see why she won't continue to improve.
100%. I think, yeah, doubles. You were right, Lucy. She did reach the French Open doubles final, because she reached the singles final and the doubles final, and she won 3 doubles titles this season, like 2 of those WTA 1000s. So like she's had a bloody good year. It's been a career high year for her. So let's just relax. But I hear what you're saying as well, Tumaini, but in terms of the weaknesses, like the forehand is obviously an issue. I say an issue, it's a weakness. I remember her serve, or second serve, also being like a thing. She's working on those, like, and as you do as a tennis player, you're always going to try and improve certain areas of your game. So yeah, she's doing that, and that's why for me, like I've no doubt like she will be winning Grand Slams like soon. So no pressure on Coco at all. And yeah, again, a massive shout out to her as well for reaching the end of year finals in Fort Worth, Texas. Yes. With their shocking, well, what do you call it? The crowds weren't great, were they? Like,
apparently, like when I was hearing from like the American tennis fans, they were just saying that basically it was just the wrong location.
Yeah, and there was also like a bit of mix up in terms of like the quite last minute in terms of the location. So I think it was originally meant to be somewhere else, but then they switched it up last minute.
It was, I mean, it was because, you know, normally it's in Shenzhen in China, because it's not being held there for, I mean, COVID, but also obviously the punctuality. I think like that was one of the only venues, because, you know, like venues are booked like year in advance for like concerts and shit. So that was the only venue that was, well, that's what this
is. That's why right now there's like NBA, NFL, and all the other sports in America playing right now as well, isn't it?
So that was the only venue where they had like a whole week where like 8 days where they could actually play it. I think that's what they say anyway. I still don't get why why they were still looking for a venue like up to like a few months before it started. Like they knew it wasn't going to happen for a long time.
No, you never know. They probably thought, or maybe the people in China was making it seem to them like, oh yeah, no, don't worry, it's going to be a place available. Like I don't think they will purposely do that at the last minute. I think they probably thought, yeah, it will be available, because I'm not going to lie, the way I don't know if you guys have seen it. The way things are in China right now is ridiculous. Like, you actually think it's like a movie. Like, the way people are being treated and stuff, like, is crazy. Which I did not expect. I feel like they're the only people in the world who are still like such a strict like place. Like New Zealand, who was as strict as our all, are not even like that anymore. But in China,
is this in relation to COVID?
Yeah, like people, like it's crazy. Like people can't go out in certain places. Some people literally like outside of their home, that living outside. Like, I saw a video, I'll send it to you. You'll think it's like in a movie or something. Like it's actually it's not that sustainable. Like people out there are actually suffering. Like I actually feel bad for those there.
That's not good.
Yeah, so hopefully all of that changes, and yeah, we'll see next year, innit?
Another career high year, Felix, we've spoken about. So yeah, he won four singles titles this year. His first one in Rotterdam in February, which was in the UK Black History Month, which some of us acknowledge, some of us don't. But yeah, he went on a tear at the end of the year, winning 3 in a row. And that was incredible. All his titles so far come indoors. Which I like. Listen, for me, you get it when you get it. But I believe in his game, and he's got game to literally play on every surface, no matter regardless of conditions. Obviously, we'll see next year, like in terms of how he builds on this. But yeah, I didn't say it for me earlier in terms of like kind of highlights for my season. But of course, it's been a joy to watch Felix this year. And then we spoke about the Laver Cup victory, how he beat Novak straight sets, helping Team World win that title, and then the Davis Cup, where he was just unstoppable. Literally, won. I think it was 3 matches. Was it 3? Yeah, 2, 4, 6. Yeah, 2, 4, 6. I'm trying to think. 2, 4, 6. 4 matches. Wasn't it 4 matches? Or he won 8 sets.
I'm not too sure.
Played 8 sets, won all 8.
Okay.
That's 4 matches. My maths is so bad. But yeah, he was literally Canada's like player of the tournament, and he won the junior version of the event a few years ago. Now he's won the main thing with Denis Shapovalov, which is a nice story there. But yeah, he finished the year with 60 match wins as well, which is a career high for him. I think only Stefanos Tsitsipas had more match wins this season. So it just shows again, like he's played a lot of tennis, and he reached the end of year finals too. For the first time, he got a win over Nadal in Turin, which was pretty big as well. Didn't make it out of the group, but not reading too much into that. But yeah, it's been a really, really good year for Felix. I don't know if there's anything more we need to add. I think you guys have pretty much said
earlier. Yeah. Do you know what? It was interesting because normally a lot of players around this time of the year do a little bit sluggish, or, you don't know what's going on. So it's actually interesting how like he was able to just pump it up and just, show himself as well. And I hope that energy just brings it onto him at the start of the tournament, and just like, yeah, because to be fair, Felix as well had like some couple tough draws as well this year. He did drag Uncle Nadal for flat 5 sets at the French Open. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? Like
it was Medvedev as well in Australia, the quarterfinals. I think that went to 5.
Things.
Yeah.
And Wimbledon, he lost. Who was he? Wimbledon first round. Yeah, and that's a tough draw.
Yeah.
And then US, I think it was the second round against Draper. Again, tough, but yeah.
Yeah, during the summer, it was a bit tough, but the beginning or the end, he made up for it, which that's all that matters, to be honest, because he could have been just continue losing, done nothing, but he worked his ass off. My only hope for next year is that he gets Uncle Tony to just...
No one has ever been able to do that, so
that man needs to stop. People need to stop putting a microphone in front of this man, in front of that man's eye.
I was going to say, to be fair, he did kind of like redeem himself a little bit in Turin.
Well, he was like, "Oh, I'm not cheering for." Do you know what? It's probably
because he sat in Felix's box, and rightly so.
Yeah, because all the dragging that we've been giving him, because it's like
maybe he heard a pod. maybe.
my theory is that he only get like if Felix plays Nadal in slams, you know, he wants Nadal, you know, he obviously wants his nephew to win, but he can beat him in the regular.
You can have that.
You know what? That's a good point. Because the French Open, he wasn't either.
No,
right?
yeah.
Bang in the middle, like
he was talking, but he wasn't. Yeah.
See, this is what I'm saying. So, but next year, Uncle, just do what you got to do to help us, you know, win. But stop talking. Just stop. Like there's some people that just should not talk.
Where do you see Felix's game next year, in terms of like where he can improve and like what's his ceiling?
I mean, I think he's given himself like the perfect kind of platform. I think he's given himself the perfect platform to be really successful next year. He, you know, it's funny because like last year he made deep runs in slams and broke through there, but was still searching for his first title. This year, you know, he continued that with at the Australian Open, but then, you know, kind of aside from, you know, French Open against Nadal, he struggled a bit more in slams in the final 2 slams, but he won 4 titles and I don't know, just broke through in a different way. So next year, I'm just curious to see if he can put it all together and, you know, in one season and have, you know, he's set himself up for that. And like I remember, for example, when Djokovic won the Davis Cup I think it was 2010, and that was the springboard for him having one of his best ever seasons in 2011 where he truly like broke through. And I'm not saying that.
Fingers crossed. Can you imagine? Wow.
That's when Djokovic won like 40, was it? I can't remember, 40 something matches in a row season. But I mean, I'm not saying necessarily that exactly what happened. That would be crazy. Yeah. But it's like he's given himself a platform to, you know, he now knows he can win titles. He can win big matches. You know, he's beat he beat Nadal twice. He beat Nadal. He beat Djokovic. And now he'll. Yeah, it's all positive going into next year. We've seen like his serve has been unbelievable, and just he's
forehand as well.
Yeah, and he's
big weapon.
And you've just seen how he's become more stable. And as much as, you know, Tony does need to stop talking to the press, he should continue talking to Felix because, you know, he's clearly helped. Give him help, provide him with more balance, as you'd expect from like Tony Nadal or people, like giving his game more balance, and he's a lot more like, you know, when he's in longer rallies, I don't know, he's just a lot more stable. I remember at the start of the year, like against Medvedev, like it felt like almost every rally that was prolonged, he'd lose. Whereas now, I don't know, he's just become a lot more solid. So yeah, it's all good. It's all positive for him.
Love that. Another player who had a career high year or finished the season with a career high ranking, our guy Tiafoe, which we've spoken about, but yeah, he finished inside the top 20 for the first time. And yeah, like really good. It was a good season for Tiafoe. He didn't win any titles. He did reach 2 finals. So it was Estoril in Portugal and Tokyo, which was an incredible like run to the final there. He beat some really good players. I think he lost to Fritz in the final there. But yeah, that US Open for Francis was just, it made it special. Like his run, like it was one of the main stories, considering we had Serena's retirement, but both kind of stories like nicely coincided, I thought. And yeah, I just think as well with Tiafoe this year, like he's basically shown, or he's the matches he was supposed to win, he won. Like, and that's not always been the case, like with him. So I think, yeah, going into 2023, like we can be much more confident that, like, yeah, he'll put out wins where he's supposed to. And I think this is only going to make him want to, continue to build and grow in terms of like on the ranking and like, break into the top 10 because he's got game. Again, he's beaten big players just this year. And yeah, he can compete with the best of them. Tsitsipas, he's beaten Nadal as well. He hasn't beaten Felix yet. And I think they played 3 times. So I'm looking forward to like that kind of rivalry, like continuing to play out.
Who, Nadal?
No, Felix and Francis. So Felix is unbeaten against Tiafoe.
Really?
They played twice this year, and I think they played last year as well. And yeah, Felix won. Felix won on all three occasions. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to say about Francis. Or actually, tomorrow I'm going to get your. Sorry, Felix. Sorry, I want to get your thoughts. Laver Cup, the controversy when TFO hit the ball, just smashed the body shot. Do you remember when he hit it at Federer?
Oh, I didn't. I didn't. I mean, I understand why people were doing that, but I didn't think it was. You know, people. I know people were saying that TFO and Sock should have, given Federer the win in the final match and blah blah blah. But I actually thought that Federer would probably have appreciated the fact that that they went hard at him in this final match.
Exactly.
That they made him work, and and in the end, like he had it on his racket. He was serving. He had much fun on the serve and couldn't do it. But I think he appreciated more that in his final, it's not a proper match, but like that they went hard at him and that he had for one last time to like try and figure it out. So I thought that I didn't even I didn't, aside from people talking about it, I didn't think twice about it. Like you try to hit people in doubles. That's the
it's tactic, exactly.
Yeah. That was nothing to me, and people were doing too much as they often do with Francis. But
that's per usual, sadly. But that's why we're here. So
gang.
Another player I want to shout out, Ben Shelton. So
yes.
Massive season massive year for, I say year. So he won the NCAA Men's Championship for the Florida Gators. That was back in April, May. I don't know when that was, but that was early in the year, basically. And then got a few wild cards into a few of the US hardcourt events before the US Open. Was it Cincinnati, the Masters event? He beat Casper Ruud.
Ruud, yeah.
And yeah, that was when he was I don't know, he had a ranking somewhere in the 200s, so just complete outsider coming in and beating a top seed at a Masters event. Everyone was like, oh, who's this guy? In America, obviously they were well aware of him. But then, yeah, he just literally went on a tear. I think he did play, he got a wild card into the US Open. He did lose in the first round.
Yeah.
It was a 5-set defeat though. I mean, I'm not sure if he had match points, but it was a good account, or he gave a good account of himself in that match. But yeah, the end of this year, he just went on a tear. So he won 3 challenger events back to back. And yeah, basically he's broken into the top 100. So he'll be straight into the Australian Open for the start of the year, which is massive. He's 20 years old, lefty. He looks like a really, really exciting player. And someone I think we're going to be seeing a lot of in the future. I don't know if you've seen much of his game, Tumaini. What do you make of his game?
Yes, I've seen him. He's tall and big and strong and just has huge big weapons, huge serve, he's very aggressive, and yeah, yes.
On the serve, sorry to cut you. Do you remember a player called Joachim? Is it Joachim Johansson?
Yeah.
The Swede. I think his serve is very similar, in terms of the motion. I don't know if you can see that.
And I can't fully remember Johansson's motion. I'll go into because
it's quite distinctive. But yeah, just when you mentioned the serve, I was like, because he's got a massive serve. It's a bomb. But sorry, continue.
No, that's it. Just he has the weapons he clearly has weapons, and the fact that just the way he's just gone in a tear, and just the second he fully devoted himself to being a pro, he's just flown up the rankings. Clearly he can achieve a lot. He's not. I don't think many people want to face him in the first round in Australia. And yeah, it was also cool that by making the main draw, he freed up a wild card for Christopher Eubanks as well. So,
yeah. Who he played, I think, in two of the challenger finals that he won.
Yeah.
He beat Eubanks in 2 of those finals, which is mad. Lucy, I don't know if you have anything to say about Ben Shelton, apart from the fact that you didn't know he was black.
Yo, I really like. How did I find? I think you posted him.
Yeah,
and then I messaged you like, yeah, I was like, bro, are you sure this guy's not Latino or something? Like, are you sure he didn't make a mistake? I was just like, because obviously we post pictures black and white as well. So the first time when I'm seeing it, I'm like, he is not giving me black vibes. I was just like, I'm not too sure. Like, is he actually? And then but yes. But I will add the same thing as Tumaini said. I can't remember which match it was, but the first match of his that I watched, I deep that he was actually very aggressive. Which I'm looking forward to be honest. I like when players are like really like aggressive on the court. I think about most of the players that I really like, especially obviously Serena. They're like very aggressive players. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Is he playing any other tournaments besides the Australian Open at the beginning?
I'm sure he'll play some of the warm-up.
Yeah.
Because the schedule's not really been has the schedule been announced on the men's side?
I don't think the entry lists are out yet. No.
No, they've just announced which players are playing and stuff. But we don't know anything else. Like couple players. There's some players playing, some are not. Like Alcaraz not playing till actual Australian Open or something.
Oh, really?
Like that. But yeah, which I'm really surprised. Actually.
Interesting.
Like I don't think he's doing any warm-up tournament, but we'll see. And we're looking forward to seeing Ben anyways. For him to have like a proper, season and stuff. And I feel like people got to know who he was pretty quickly, which I was really happy about.
Yeah.
I'm guessing since he's an American player.
I was going to say it's definitely because he's American. There's a different kind of machine that they
exactly
kind of drive.
Yeah, looking forward to it. But yeah, we'll see in it next year.
Another player we need to shout out, Alicia Parks. So she got some big wins in Ostrava. Top 20 win against Karolina Pliskova, and then she beat Maria Sakkari, who was I think number 7 in the world. So that's a top 10 win. She reached the quarterfinals there, and then she won the doubles event, which was her first WTA title of any sort, and that was with Kati McNally. And yeah, I want to say Parks is just outside the top 100. I think she's won around the 120s. So she's looking to. I think she's still playing at the moment actually as well. She's playing some events in Europe before the end of the year. So she's looking to get that ranking up, and hopefully she'll be into the main draw for the Australian Open.
Yeah, she's actually even playing the quarterfinals. On Friday at Andorra.
Andorra, okay. Yeah. So I think that's her name. We've spoken about her a lot as well. We had her on the pod last.
Whoa, wait, hold on. She's 73.
That's a doubles ranking. Doubles.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. I looked at that and I was like, oh shit, no, but it's doubles.
Yeah.
But yeah, she'll be in the top 100 soon. Like I remember because I was speaking to her dad, and he was like, yeah, she's about to bust that. You said, she's about to bust that top 100. I just stopped laughing when he said it.
Yeah, she's 134 right now. I didn't realize she was that tall. Oh my gosh, she's 6'1". Oh wow, okay. Well,
shouts out to Park. But I don't know if you seen much of a game, Tumaini, like in terms of.
I watched Ostrava.
Okay, what did you make of her?
Yes, I mean the service obviously just enormous. The thing I loved was just in general about her game is just how she how much she enjoys coming to the net. Like she's always coming.
That's true.
And she's obviously like very good athlete, and I don't know, just she has like a lot of like different like ingredients, and when it all comes together, she's gonna she'll be in the top for sure, and she'll like keep on going up, I think. And
100%.
Yeah.
I'd say look out for. I'm not saying this as a fact, but yeah, look out for potentially a doubles team of Coco Gauff and Alicia Parks. Just something that we're just. But yeah, no more to be said on that. Taylor Townsend.
Yes.
She returned to action this year, and before making her return at the French Open, she joined us very kindly on the podcast with her coach, John Williams. Shouts out to Rodney Rapson for hooking it up for us. But yeah, Taylor's had a good season, I think, as well, in terms of especially the doubles side, like runner up at the US Open. And it's just good to see her back, back on the court.
She was also semi-finals French Open, right?
Exactly. Yes,
the doubles
exactly. With Keys, Madison Keys, exactly. So I think again, like we can look forward to seeing Townsend next year. And I think she's won a few like ITFs as well this year. So she's working her way back.
She won one a few weeks ago. The thing about Townsend is like she's always played like kind of a restricted schedule, and obviously even more since now she has a kid. So like, as soon as she like plays more, like she'll be again in the top 100 easily. I think she's like around 130 right now, and like performing really well.
For someone who was just on maternity leave, I think she had definitely a good comeback.
Really good.
Like the way your body is, the way your body is like different after giving birth, like the fact that she's been able to just train hard. She said on the live how hard she was working and stuff, like even her coach was emphasizing and she was still doing like the presenting thing. She did really well. Everyone on
Tennis
Twitter were like,
on
the Tennis Channel, everyone was loving her. Like I remember telling her that, I'd be like, listen, I don't know if you're aware, but everyone was loving. Obviously we couldn't see it from our side, but from the like feedback that we were seeing on social media, is like everyone was enjoying, her on the Tennis Channel and stuff. So she was doing that in training, and then here she is working really hard. I feel like she had a very good comeback, and I love watching Taylor play, to be honest. She's so focused, seeing her run her in the net. That's her thing as well. Like she's really good in it as well.
Like doubles, and just watching.
She has she has that game face on. Like that final, you could see was getting to, like she was not playing, like, and it was so close. They were so close, but for her to make it that far, it was really amazing. So
very special. So also someone I've not put her on the rundown, my bad, but Sloane Stephens, she won a title this year as well, didn't she? In Mexico.
In Mexico.
Guadalajara. And incredible run from Stephens. She wasn't her standout year, like just looking at her results.
She had a couple good
she reached quarterfinals at the Roland Garros, which is good. Wimbledon. Where did she go? She played Wimbledon. She was the first round loss.
No, there was another one in America. I can't remember. She did well as well.
She did well in Guadalajara again. That was a WTA 1000. That was her last event. So she got to the quarters there and lost to Pegula.
There was another one as well. I can't remember, but she did. There's some tournaments where she was like, it was kind of like a up and down thing this year, but she still did pretty well.
And then finally, just from a junior perspective, Angela Okotoyi, I think again, it's just always worth mentioning. She made history by winning the junior doubles title. So she was the first Kenyan to win a Grand Slam at any level. She teamed up with Marie Nijkamp, I think, for the Netherlands. They won the girls doubles title, and they beat the Canadian pair of Chris Mbuko, I think she's 15, Black Canadian, and Kayla Cross, so two Canadian girls, very good junior players. Shouts out to Angela Okotoyi, and I think she did also win a doubles title recently as well on the ITF tour.
She reached a singles final as well, I think, in Kenya. I think
that rings a bell, and that was last week.
Yes.
So a good season for Okotoyi. I think she's 18, so I think it's someone we're going to be seeing hopefully on the rise, like just continue to kind of develop and come through the rankings. Before we finish, what we're looking forward to like next year. And I say next year, the season starts in like what?
A couple weeks.
Just under a month. It's ridiculous because I've got here the United Cup, which replaces the what was it again? ATP Cup, exactly. Shouts out to Canada who won that. I saw a really good stat actually. So Felix Auger-Aliassime has won every team event he's played this year. So ATP Cup, Labour Cup, and Davis Cup. pretty sick record. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this United Cup because Parks, she'll be playing for the USA. And Reina Akuyă-Stoiber, the promising junior Brit who's of Ghanaian descent or heritage, she'll be playing for GB as well. So it'd be quite exciting to see those two. And obviously, yeah, just the new season in general. But yeah, for you guys, what are you looking forward to, if anything, like going into 2023?
The first thing I'm looking forward to, the little drama of like Djokovic going back to Australia, because people are going to be like angry. So I'm looking forward to being entertained by that.
Trust you.
I am actually looking forward to seeing what's going to happen at WTA, most importantly, because Iga has been, winning all of these tournaments by, some will say that she did the bare minimum and still did it. So I'm actually really looking forward to what's going to happen. Is she still going to be carrying it over? Are there going to be someone who's going to, take it over? Like, are people going to see her more as a threat compared to this year? So I'm really looking forward to like the state of the WTA. Looking forward to Francis and seeing if we can turn some of these into title wins. We've had a couple of nice finals. We had great wins. We've reached the semi-finals, US Open. So I'm really looking forward into seeing how that converts into the title, same as Coco as well. And lastly, as a tennis fan, I really want to see the state of Nadal as well. I kind of feel like this is it for him in terms of physically. I feel like his experience and the way he is mentally is what helps him win. Remember, I said this before on the pod, like I feel like the biggest difference between the older gen and this new gen is the hunger and the mental, strength is really not the same. But again, I feel like the pressure is probably not the same. Like the new gen can be a little bit more like relaxed and be like, if I don't want to play today, I'm not going to play today. Even though fans can come and attack them, media can come and attack them. But it's not the same as before. Like when a different generation, things have changed. But there's some players I'm keeping my eye on, even like non-black spin, like Tsitsipas, Sakari, Medvedev. I want to see that how they're really performing. But I'm investigating a lot because I don't know what to expect next year. So it's more of like let's see how it goes type of thing. But,
I like that. Strong list there. Tumaini, what about you?
I'm looking forward to, so on the men's side, just in general, I'm looking forward to seeing how, Alcaraz and Rune in particular, they're like new generation now, and how they, if they can, how they, face Djokovic and Nadal and the older players, and if like with their youth that they still have like a level of kind of fearlessness that the players older than them kind of have lost. If the players kind of establish themselves right at the top of the sport or not. Especially obviously Alcaraz is already there, but Djokovic is going to be coming for him, so that will be interesting. The women's, also same with Lucy, kind of how if there's going to be a challenger to Swiatek, I think like still the player with the most capability is obviously Osaka. Clearly, that's like the dream, really. That just from the perspective of the WTA, like if to have them like facing each other in big matches, but
that'd be
Osaka's still like not close to that, really, to be honest. So I'm curious to see if she can get back to where she should, I'm sure she wants to be and where she should be. One thing, I am just having seen Tsonga retire and Gilles Simon retire. I'd like to see one last ride for one last big season for Monfils. I'll be happy. He started like so well as well, and until
so sorry, are you saying that you think next year that's it for him?
No, just like at least one last big year.
Okay, cool.
Where he has where he has big results. At least one loss. It's like it's because like he was playing so out at the start of this year. Like you remember his press conference in Australia when
I was gonna say exactly. Yeah, go on.
I'd completely forgotten about that until the last hour when he was like when it was me and Ben Rothenberg, we were just talking to him and he was like, oh, I think all I need is one shot, like I think I just want one chance to win a slam, and he's like, I think I can do it. And that was like, I don't know, that was like really, that was like, he just lost to Berrettini in the quarters of Australian Open. He was like so determined, and but like
when I heard that, actually gave me the chills. I was like,
yeah, the same, like
flipping hell, like yeah.
It was like right after losing a match as well. I don't know, that was a moment that was just that was a nice moment. So I'd like to see him. I'd like to see like at least one.
Yeah, I love that.
Where sorry, go on.
No, I've also got here. Like, do you think we'll have any more like first time Grand Slam winners? Because obviously we're back on the women's side and Alcaraz on the men's. Like, I do feel like we're going to have more next year as well. I think, yeah. Facts. I don't know who they're going to be, but yeah.
Facts.
I mean, 100% on the women, and yeah, possibly on. I think it's more than possible on the men as well. Like, obviously, it could be like either Djokovic just dominates or Alcaraz. Or
Curious.
Nick.
I said nothing.
Where was he for the Australian Davis Cup team though?
I mean,
allow it. Hey, listen, you might have to edit that one.
Yeah, I mean, he has been saying that he's not that traveling. His whole thing is that he doesn't like traveling and that he wanted to go home. And I think he played Tokyo because he's a Yonex player. I didn't know this until like Yonex players have to. Well, I think a lot of Yonex players are like kind of obliged to play in Tokyo because it's
probably in their contract. I won't be surprised if that's that type of thing.
And
that's out to Yonex though.
Yeah. And what was I going to say? And yeah, he played doubles obviously at the ATP finals, but I think he just wanted his whole thing now is that he's tasted reaching a slam final, and that's his big focus now, he says.
So is anyone going to go big and give me a name, like as in a potential Grand Slam winner for next year, as in a first time winner basically, or we're not there yet? It's too late. It's too late in the season, or too early to be thinking about all that now.
I think it's a bit too early for me to say anything. But I definitely do agree with Tumaini that there's going to be, I think next year there's going to be a lot more like new winners. Yeah. I generally think so, unless Novak comes out of nowhere with his calendar slam nonsense. But
more than possible.
Especially that this year he's low-key been robbed. I know he's upset about missing out on Australia and then obviously not having enough matches to then follow up with French Open, and he won Wimbledon, right?
He didn't play US. He wasn't allowed in New York as well.
And he was allowed in New York. He's pissed right now. So he's going to go to 2023 season and whoop everybody's asses and be like, this is for last year. Last year.
Can you see Alcaraz holding on to number one?
I think it's holding on to number one. I could see Alcaraz winning another slam for sure. Wow, I don't know I don't know if he'll hold on to number one. Like his current total is already like pretty well. It is low for a number one, and I think Djokovic can. I think Alcaraz has like 6,800 points, and
because when I was looking at the matches, he's not played that many matches as in Alcaraz, but he just got a lot of big wins. So fair play to him.
That's the thing which is really impressive. So I think that's why in my head I'm even a bit fifth. Like when I find out he's not going to play till like the Australian Open, I don't think he's playing that much. Like
no, he's got to be playing before.
I'm pretty sure I saw it because of his injury. I think it's because of that. He's a little bit injured right now.
Yeah, but surely he'll have to play a warm up. Maybe.
I hope he does.
He didn't do one this year actually. He went straight up into Melbourne.
See?
And where did he finish?
I think he lost to Berrettini. I can't remember what round.
Must have been quite late on then.
I can't remember.
At least
round?
third, fourth round. Okay.
He lost Berrettini third round, and even that was 5 sets.
Fair play.
The first 2 rounds, straight sets, he wasted no time.
Because again, I've not got this on the rundown, but like, where are you guys in terms of like the season being? I think the season is ridiculously long. Like, it's too long. Like, something needs to be done in order to kind of give the players a break. Like, and I don't know if it's a thing of changing the schedule. So maybe but then how would you do that? Because you've got the end of year finals, which I think needs to stay where it is. But then you've also then got like Davis Cup and Billie Jean King Cup. Like, we know Lucy's on that one. Well, where are you on that, Serena? Like, yeah.
Weirdly, I think that actually the women's season, which ends like a couple of weeks earlier, I think that's actually like a good spot. Like, I think it ends mid-November. It ended mid-November.
Yeah.
Ended on my birthday. Yeah, it ended November 13th. So I think that's fine.
Happy belated, by the way, as well. We missed.
You're just saying this like this is your birthday, like.
And it was a landmark, like just skirting over it.
It's
cool.
like, yeah.
I turned 20, so you know. Finally,
I hear that.
Yeah, but yeah, I actually think that's, although I think from their part it was quite unintentional, because they they missed weeks in the year because of they don't have the Chinese swing at the moment. Well, it doesn't seem like they'll have the Chinese swing. Well, we don't know, but yeah, I like that. But I agree that the men's season stretches on this is the first week of off season, and
it's nuts.
They're going to be back in the gym in like next, they'll be back in the gym next week preparing for
ridiculous.
Yeah,
because this United Cup starts on the 29th of December.
Yeah.
December, not January, December. So 2022, the 2023 season starts in 2022. Like, that makes no sense. But that's where we are.
I do get why like the season is long though. Like the other argument is that there are, for the top players, they may need a break, but there are other players who are trying to make a living the whole year round.
That's the thing.
You can't have weeks, and those are weeks where they can't earn money, and blah blah blah.
True.
And also, like, I mean, the top players, that they have a chance now they have a chance to at least like take a week or two off and rest. But they're going around and playing, exhibitions and stuff. It's not like remotely the same thing like playing an exhibition. They're just, it's not nearly like playing a tournament, but no,
just there for some extra cash. It's all good. It's all good.
I think it's more. It's not even just extra. I think it's more like branding as well. You need to remember, because a lot of these players, they might not. So a lot of these players have not won any titles, but their branding is what's keeping their pocket full. You take that. What's that Japanese player?
Nishikori.
Why is that guy always the top 5 most paid tennis thingy? But the brands are paying him. So because of obviously his case a bit different because the Japanese brands are paying him. But there's some players that don't win that much, but the branding is what they need. They need their name out there and stuff to get them P's. And
don't hate the player, hate the game.
Listen, it is what it is. You gotta bills to pay. We're in a recession.
No, fair play. And yeah, lastly, I just want to shout out. So we had Hayley Baptiste on the pod earlier in the season. She was our first player interview. So shouts out to Hayley Baptiste. We also had obviously Taylor Townsend, which we spoke about before the French Open. And then we had guest co-hosts. So Trerisha Watkins of Love and Tennis. That was a really good episode we had with her. Jordan Sanford as well, speaking about All-American Homecoming. A great show that everyone should watch. And yeah, her work with the USTA. And yeah, our guy who is here with us right now, mainly the mentor, the example.
The example, I'm dead.
No, but honestly, to me, it's been just brilliant, man. Like in terms of this year as well, like you proper shown us the ways, like from just doing your work basically, and then also us kind of being at events with you, like, and you guiding us as well, like really, really appreciate it, man. So thank you so much.
Me asking dumb questions like, can I drink Pimm's? That day at Eastbourne was so hot. I was like, you know what? I can't. There's fresh Pimm's right in front of me. And I was like, listen, can I actually drink some of this? Because right now I need some refreshing cold drink. So yeah.
That feels like such a long, what's the temperature right now? It's like, what, 2 degrees outside? We're talking about
that's what I'm saying.
Like
that's what I'm saying. Eastbourne, I was out here with my SPF, with my sunscreen and everything. Like, it was hot. It was like
incredible.
20, 30 degrees. Now here I am with my heat on.
Mad.
I have to say, like, thinking about the Eastbourne, it was obviously probably the first time Serena has had a press conference where there's a row of black people, you know.
Yes.
Like, I don't know, it felt good.
You know what? You could even tell by her face that she's like, oh, okay. Like,
there's like a focus. There's like a focus on.
Yeah, it was just literally just us three niggas just there, just chilling. Like, but it's funny because I feel like I think for tonight it's probably different because people definitely seen him a little bit more like other journalists, but definitely people were looking at us like, are you guys like lost or something? Like, do you get what I mean?
Listen,
it is like we're here, and I feel like with me as well, looking like my face, looking like slightly younger as well, and everything. But again, it was a great experience. I mean, that's how we met even the people who run like the WTA social media, even the ATP one as well, and stuff. So
your countrywoman.
She's from Senegal, and we actually have like mutuals as well. Like when I actually looked at her followers and people, like I was like, I know this person, I know that person.
Shouts out to Senegal too, by the way. World Cup doing their thing.
You get what I mean? But Sunday's going to be exciting. I definitely need to watch the match in my house.
Sunday's techie though. Where are we going, Lucy?
Do you want me to get a shot like with my Senegalese flag? Please, I'm staying home. I'm watching that match at home alone because boy, I'm not going to be out of there shy in Senegal.
No, I'm saying, and who are you supporting? Because I mean, born here.
Senegal. I'm shout out to the UK, give me that passport and that, but they didn't make jollof, they didn't make it like that. They don't bring me the sun. I'm going home in a couple of weeks as well, literally in 2 weeks. So, so yeah.
No, wicked. Well, it's a nice way to end it. And shouts out to USA too as well. They've also qualified for the knockout stages of the World Cup. So good look for the US and obviously England as well. So we move. I want to see more African nations though. We won't talk about Nigeria.
But don't worry,
they weren't in it. But
first, Nigeria is just.
This is not a football podcast. That was just a quick. No, guys. Honestly, thank you, man. I want to say that's it for the season, but we have something in the works that we're working on. I can't reveal it anymore. Lucy's looking at me like, what? But I'm
trying to remember, but okay.
In terms of the season, that's it. So as always, thank you so much for listening. And for
another season, we did it.
Interactions and it's been a long one, but an enjoyable one. And we look forward to doing it again next year.
Next year, it might be a little bit hard for me to watch the matches. I'm going to be in Senegal with slow-ass internet, but I'm going to get my VPN and good luck to me. But luckily, by the time I come back, the Australian Open won't start, so it's okay. So it's Adelaide and stuff that I might struggle a bit to watch.
Okay, no, that's cool. But I'm sure I'll keep you updated as usual in terms of, with all the results and stuff, black related anyway.
That's it, because this is an African lab only.
So guys, thank you. And again, Tumaini, thanks a lot for joining us as well, man.
Yes,
very, very good to have you on. Like your knowledge and insight, like much appreciated. So thank you.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. See y'all in 2023.
Guys, happy new year. And we'll see you before the end of the year. But until then, take care.